Measurement and consequential evaluation are essential to make progress, to change outcomes, to save lives. But what if a very powerful industry doesn't want to change? Maybe they would try to stop all measurement, stop all evaluation.
Death by firearms have been steadily on the rise in the United States over the last 10 years, and the increase has been quite dramatic in the last 5 years. For youth in the US, the last 5 years have seen an alarming increase in deaths that had been declining in the previous 6 years. The firearm industry represents 350,000 jobs and a $28 billion industry that not only makes increasing lethality of firearms a priority to maintain marketing relevance and revenue growth, they also play an active role in policy, messaging, and manipulation. This industry, along with other industries like tobacco, have become what some scholars refer to as commercial determinants of health, meaning that the existence of the industry itself is a major contributor to injury and death. I am speaking to Dr. Mark Rosenberg, who has worked for almost 40 years on the problem of gun violence. He was instrumental in establishing CDC's National Center for Injury Prevention and Control and became its first permanent director. He also served as Assistant Surgeon General. Dr. Rosenberg developed a groundbreaking science-based approach to violence prevention that laid groundwork for both CDC and the World Health Organization. CDC's National Center for Injury Prevention and Control was the leading expert in firearm injury research until Congress withdrew that budget. Hello, Dr. Rosenberg.
Hi, Zainab.
Tell us about the toll of gun violence in the U.S.
America right now is going through a series of murders, homicides, and gun violence unparalleled for the last 30 years. The United States is so much higher in terms of gun deaths than any other developed country. And it's a problem that we don't need to live with. We don't need to have it. It's preventable.
Why is measurement important to change these outcomes?
We don't know how to answer the most simple questions about this epidemic. Who's getting shot? Where, when, how, with what kind of weapon? Where does the weapon come from? What's the relationship between the shooter and the victim? What's the role of domestic violence? What's the role of alcohol, of drugs? How do we stop this epidemic? We don't have anything like a simple vaccination. There are many factors that cause it and many things that have to be done to stop it.
How does the firearm industry work to prevent consequential evaluation?
The NRA was selling guns by saying that if you care about your family, you'll have a gun in your house. So the first bit of research we did was looking at that question: does having a gun in your home actually make you safer? And what we found out was that not only does it not make you safer, but if you have a gun in your home, the risk of someone getting shot and killed by someone else in your home triples. And the risk that someone in your home would commit suicide by gun goes up fivefold. The NRA didn't like these findings. They didn't think it would help them sell more guns. And what they did was they made it impossible for the federal agencies to collect the needed data. And they made it impossible for us to do the research that we needed to answer these questions. For 20 years, the federal government stopped doing research on firearm violence. And as a result, we don't know what works. We don't know if arming every teacher in a school will save lives or end up killing more kids. We don't know if waiting periods will work. We don't know if gun licensing and gun registration will work. Here we are in the midst of an epidemic, and we don't know what works to get us out of it. That's the cost of not having the data.
What can be done to change this?
The reason we stopped being able to do the research was that the NRA told people it's either or. It's either the research or you keep your guns, but you can't do both. The answer is there are things that will do both. There are things that will prevent gun violence and protect the rights of law-abiding gun owners. But how do we find them? We need to be able to look. With research, we can find the solutions. We can find the things that work, and we can end this needless epidemic.
Thank you, Dr. Rosenberg. Great seeing you.
Nice to see you.
In becoming better ancestors, our honest evaluation of our work can have tremendously important consequences. We must embrace and share both our successes and our failures, because the next person to pick up where you left off may take all that you have learned and pivot towards progress. Your commitment to continuous evaluation and improvement can help us all become better ancestors. Thank you for joining me in this series. To share your experience and wisdom with others, I encourage you to explore and contribute to 9lessons.org throughout your journey to becoming better ancestors, and as you go on to create positive change in the world. See you again soon.